This video looks at how to create a confidence interval for one proportion using the TI-83, 84, the TI-89, and GeoGebra. I'm going to start in the TI-89 just because of views here. In this problem, I'm told that I have 45 successes in 120 trials, and I want to create a 95% confidence interval. So the way that I'm going to do this in the TI-89 is I'm going to hit the button that says Apps. On my calculator, that's the purple button. And I'm going to scroll until I see an app that says Stat List Editor. If you don't have Stat List Editor on your calculator, that's a program that you'll have to add. If you're curious about how to do that, let me know and I can send you a step-by-step for how to add Stat List Editor to your calculator. I'm going to go into this program here. I'm going to hit Enter again to enter it. And you'll see up top it gives me a couple of options. I have calculate if I wanted to calculate things like average and standard deviation. I have distribution if I want to do something with the t-distribution or the normal distribution and I wanted to look up areas. I have test if I want to do stuff for hypothesis test. And I have intervals if I want to do something with intervals. I want to do a confidence interval right now, so I want to get to F7. There are two ways to get to F7. Probably the fastest is just to hit blue and then F7. That would take me right to it. I could also just hit F5 and then hit the over arrow a bunch of times, and that would get me into F7. This will have all of my confidence intervals. I just need to know the name of the thing that I'm looking for. In this case, I'm looking for a 1 proportion because I'm dealing with one proportion at a time. I'm using z-scores, and I'm making an interval. So I choose one prop z int. Number of successes, okay, I knew that was 45 successes. Number of trials was 120. This next part is important where it says confidence level. I want to be 95% confident, so I'm typing in 0.95. I need to type in a decimal because if you type in 95, it thinks you mean 9,500. So it's assuming that you're writing these things as a decimal. I hit enter and enter again. Now this gives me my low value and my high value for my confidence interval. In this case, my confidence interval goes from 28.8% to 46.1%. P-hat is my sample success rate, so I have a success rate of 37.5% for my sample. ME is my margin of error. So from this 37.5%, I'm adding and subtracting 8.66. That's how I'm getting both this high value and this low value. So my confidence interval when I used my TI-89 here ended up being 28.84% to 46.16%. And I should see the same thing showing up when I do this on my TI-84 and in GeoGebra. I have the program SmartView loaded, and you can get a trial for this through Texas Instruments. So if you don't have a graphing calculator at home and you just want to try something out, just Google search TI-84 trial, and this should show up. The way I do test and statistics on this calculator, instead of apps, stat list editors, I just hit the stat button. I want to choose test, so I'm going to hit over to test. And then inside of test, I want to choose the option, so I'm going to hit down a couple times. I see 1 proportion z test, that's pretty tempting, but I want 1 proportion z interval. So I'm going to choose 1 proportion z interval. It'll ask me for the number of successes, 45, number of trials, 120, and for my confidence level, I want to be 0.95 or 95%. Hitting enter yields that same interval of 28.84% up to 46.16%. So again, I went stat, test, and then I scroll down until I see the option for 1 proportion z interval. I type in my values, I hit enter, it gives me my interval. Finally, if I wanted to do this inside of GeoGebra, I'm going to open up GeoGebra. I'm using the classic version here. They all work really similar. And I'm going to choose the option for probability. This shows up in the right side menu when you open the program. Up top, I'm choosing the option that says statistic. And then in this drop-down option, anywhere where it says test, this is my hypothesis test. So I have hypothesis test for one mean, for the difference of two means, for one proportion, for the difference of two proportions. I also have everything that says estimate. Estimate means confidence interval. So I'm choosing Z estimate of a proportion. My confidence level, 95%. I'm still typing that in as a decimal. Number of successes, well, I had 45 successes. Number of trials, 120. This gives me the low and the high of my interval. They're writing this as center plus or minus margin of error, so I can actually see that estimate and margin of error there as well. But that's what the process looks like if I want to do a confidence interval for one proportion using some technology. This is going to be a series of videos. I'm going to show you how to do confidence intervals and hypothesis tests for pretty much anything that you could be interested in doing. But this is the end for the first video.